God is not far from any one of us, but often God is hidden in plain sight. Jesus is hidden in plain sight. And many times we don't see him just because we're not looking for him. We're not expecting him to show up. If it's possible that we could miss a big physical object in the very real world right in front of us, and our mind shows us something else, is it possible that something very similar is taking place in the spiritual realm when it comes to recognizing God's activity or presence in our lives? I mean, we are, flawed creatures. We're imperfect. Is it possible God is right by us, but we don't see him? Sometimes we don't recognize God or recognize his activity in our lives because we're not looking for him. We are simply going through our day, doing what we do, our jobs, our families, our responsibilities, just trying to make it, whatever it might be, and we're not looking for his activity in our lives. He's the furthest thing from our minds, and so we just kind of pull out into the traffic of everyday life, and we have no idea that he might be right there by us. The scripture says he's not very far from any one of us. If we just reach out and grope around in the dark, we will bump into him eventually. One of the best examples of this, God is right there and you don't see him, is in the scriptures. That's the last passage we're going to look at today. And after Jesus has risen from the dead, he is walking along with a couple of his disciples. So they're going from the big city of Jerusalem to one of the outlier little towns called Emmaus. It's a number of miles walk, and so they're walking along this path, and Jesus joins these two disciples as they're walking along that path, and they begin to strike up a conversation. They begin to talk about things, life. They begin to talk about the Bible, like deeper things about the Bible. They even begin to talk about Jesus himself, about what's been happening with Jesus and him being crucified and all these things. And here's the crazy part. The disciples are walking along with him. They know who Jesus is. They've gotten to know him. They have no idea it's Jesus walking with them. They just think it's some guy. Now, how's that possible? Well, I think in large part, the scripture says in part, he kind of hid himself from them to some extent, but a lot of it is their expectation. They weren't expecting to be walking along with Jesus, and yet here they are walking with him, and so they come to the end of their walk at the road at the town of Emmaus, and let's watch and see what takes place with these two disciples who are with Jesus but have no idea it's actually him. They're just talking to some guy. It says, by this time they were nearing Emmaus, Jesus and these two disciples, and the end of their journey. Now Jesus acted as if he were going on. This is a really awesome statement about who God is. He acted as if he were going on. I'm going on to the next town. But they begged him, hey, stay the night with us. Since it's getting late, right? They've struck up a kinship with this guy that they don't realize is Jesus. So he went home with them. As they sat down to eat, he took bread and he blessed it. Then he broke it and he gave it to them. What's he doing? He's doing something very familiar that he's done with these disciples before. And as they encounter that familiar scenario with him, suddenly their eyes were opened and they recognized him. And at that moment, he disappeared. Jesus being in this resurrected body, it was a physical body, but it was a supercharged body, whatever you want to call it, that could appear, disappear, walk through walls, whatever you want, also eat food, be touched. It was a resurrected, redeemed body. But so here they are, these disciples, they're interacting with Jesus. They have no idea it's him, and then he does something familiar, and suddenly their eyes are open, they can see him. What's happening? He's right there with them. He's right there by them, but they can't see him. They don't recognize him. This is possible for every one of us. But what I want to focus on for just a moment is this idea that Jesus acted as if he was going on, which is kind of seems like a unique saying. Just stop and consider this for a moment, because I think it will help us begin to consider who God is and what he's like, and maybe that we don't have it all right about him. We might have some things wrong. Well, who is Jesus? The scriptures say he is God in a human body. This is the claim. And Jesus is here. God is here with these two disciples. And they are going along from one town to the next. And Jesus, the scripture says, God acts as if he's going on to the next town. He's not lying. He's not deceiving. He is pretending, is the word that's used in the Greek. He's pretending something. Now, just stop for a second and think, like, God pretends. God kind of he's playing cat and mouse here almost with him a little bit, or just, I would say it's a humor kind of interaction with him. This kind of interaction makes me think of a lady named Diane Rennick. Diane Rennick is the wife of our state pastor here in Colorado, Steve Rennick, and they're often around this congregation. And Diane is what I would call, she's a little stinker, right? So Diane is somebody who has what people call a dry sense of humor. You know anybody with a dry sense of humor? So the dry sense of humor is somebody who jokes with you, but you have no idea whether they're joking or not. Until maybe way later, if you ever figure it out at all. So they have this way of joking that's just hard to, like, was he joking? Was he not? Was she joking? Was she not? And it's just a way of kind of like having fun with people. And I think it's such a fun personality type. And to me, it's almost as if Jesus is doing something in this realm. He's pretending as if he's going on to the next town. Okay, the whole time he plans to stay with them. Like, he wants to stay with these two disciples. He wants to talk to them more. He wants to eventually reveal who he is. But he pretends as if he's going on to the next town. Okay, this is your guys' stop? Okay, well, it's good to talk with you. Hope God's blessings on you. And they say, no, stay with us. Okay, if you insist. Now, just stop for a second. This is God doing this. Now, I just want to encourage you, if you never consider the fact that God would do something like this with us as humans, to have this kind of playful interaction with us, to pretend as if when he really wants to be with us, if you've never considered that about God, then ask yourself, well, is there something else maybe that I have gotten wrong about God, who he is, what he's like? Because we all have thoughts about God, I believe, but it doesn't mean our thoughts are correct. What if he's better than you think? What if he's totally different than you think? In a good way. What if he's not out there too far to access, but he's actually right next to you? The scriptures would claim that he's actually in this space, in this room this morning. Wherever people gather to worship Jesus, he is in their midst. He's close enough to engage with, to talk to, even to hear from. What if you just can't see him yet, but he's actually right there? One of the ways you can grope around in the dark, if you want to call it that, and bump into God, who is not far from any one of us, is to pray a prayer something like this: God, open my eyes that I might see you. Show me how close you are. Show me that you are near and available for me. That you're close enough to help me in my life. And then begin looking for him. Start paying attention with expectation that he actually will show up and be in your life. God is not far from any one of us, but often God is hidden in plain sight. Jesus is hidden in plain sight. And many times we don't see him just because we're not looking for him. We're not expecting him to show up. Like, I didn't expect the car to be there, but it was. He is near. And he is gracious with what? Our skepticism, with our doubt, with our questions. And it's just a matter of the heart. Like, am I going to follow the truth wherever it might lead? We believe that if you do that, that path will eventually lead to Jesus and finding him and faith in him. He will make himself known to you. You will bump into him in the dark. You'll end up discovering the single greatest purpose of your life, which is to know him and be forgiven by him and to be in relationship with him. And what you'll end up finding is that as you go on a pursuit for him, that he actually has been the one pursuing you the whole time.